Well, the way that museums are changing is that they've become large. Museums are getting bigger and bigger all the time. Part of this is, wait, let me just think about this for a minute. I mean, I think in the past, museums, the primary mission remains the same, which is to conserve and show art. Now, however, there's the idea that the museum is also a kind of, for lack of a better word, an entertainment center. Some of the directors use that word more openly, some of them don't. Some of them use the word branding more openly, some of them don't. But all of them have to think about this branding, and all of them have to think about their institutions not only as a place that people go to see art, but where people go to eat, where people go to shop, where people go to see music, hear music, see movies. I mean, I would say that corporations historically have funded certain kinds of museum shows, and with the reduction of government funding, museums did go to corporations more for funding of individual exhibitions. I think, however, the larger trend in museums, which are these giant expansions by these big-name architects that become part of a whole mechanism of cultural tourism in cities, is more a question of governments, of local governments, working with the museums, which are often private institutions in the case of the Guggenheim. So I don't know that the corporations, when I think of the larger museum expansions that are going on now, or for example in Abu Dhabi, I don't know how much the corporations have to do with it. I see it's more is that the idea that the museum can bring people to a place, can generate a downtown that was previously neglected, that can really energize a city. And this is what we're seeing, that governments are seeing museums as mechanisms in this. The government funds that's happening outside of the United States to a large point. The museums that are really growing in the United States are private museums. All of these museums that are expanding from the Walker Arts Center to the Minneapolis Museum, Detroit, all of these museums, even if they're on city land and they're city museums, most of the money is not coming from the government. They still have to raise it. Then you take a case like Bilbao, which really had no way to build its own museum. They couldn't have possibly made a collection of modernist art. So they go to the Guggenheim, as was widely reported at the time, more than 10 years ago, to get the expertise, the collection, and the brand. So this now in Abu Dhabi, for example, where they have a number of museums, brand name museums, by a number of brand named architects, and they're hoping that the whole thing as a spectacle together is what's going to generate this cultural tourism. The money, all of the money from that is coming from the government. I think there's all kinds of museums that are exciting to me right now. I think the Met, since I live in New York, remains a super exciting museum that is constantly doing fascinating shows that blow my mind, even in themes ranging from archaeology to French painting. I think there are smaller institutions that are very interesting, like Museo del Barrio. I think we're going to see a very interesting museum for African art when it reopens on Fifth Avenue. I'm trying to think inside New York. The Hispanic Society has recently become revitalized since it's been collaborating with the DIA. They did a very interesting show recently of Francis Ali's.